With some poems from a book called Zinc Fingers. And I'll start with the title poem. We were often overseas. One of the nice things about being at college was that you could take students overseas if you get 12 people to sign up to a class. And so we were in Paris one time, and we were taking them to some museum or something, and there were quite a few of them that year, maybe 16 or 17, and I'm trying to keep them together, and it happened to be rush hour down in the Paris metro. If any of you don't know what that's like, it's crowded, it's a little scary. Most of these young students didn't speak French, and anyway, we got them squeezed into this compartment, and I finally just kind of got in as the doors closed, and everybody was absolutely packed, couldn't move or muscle. And after I was there a second, I thought of all my advice to the students. Now, when you go in crowds, I said, watch out for pickpockets. And I went and put my hand in my pocket, and the guy's hand was already in it. You know, so I'm holding this guy's wrist, right? So that started, I talked in the class. That's an interesting start for a poem, in a way. But you need more than a clever idea. And as I was working on the poem, a couple of things that you'll see come in. There was an article in the New York Herald Tribune about, they had done a survey of American prisons about what prisoners had in common. And I'm thinking they're going to say education or something like that, or no father, or poverty, this kind of thing. But they mentioned a lot of things that you expect, but one of the big things was they had a zinc deficiency. Zinc deficiency. And when I read that, it seemed so odd to me. I made the remark that starts the poem. And then a little later than that, our daughter wrote, who was at Yale, and she told us that she was working on a project in Yale. It was about studying proteins and DNA. And the name of this project that she was on was Zinc Fingers. And she has since written that this fellow who runs this project has now moved from Yale, California, and has this book on his desk. Zinc Fingers. So, Zinc Fingers. Though scientists inform us that criminals have insufficient zinc, I've always believed it's insufficient gold and silver that gets them going. The man who slipped his hand into my front pocket on the jammed Paris metro wasn't trying to make friends. His overcoat smelled greasy, and it was unpleasant holding hands above my wallet, pressed in on all sides like stacked baguettes. There was no way to move or take a swing. Still, some action on my part seemed to be called for. We stood nose to nose. I tried to look in his eyes, but he stared at my chin, shy on our first date. So after a while, as we rattled along toward the Champs-Élysées, I lost concentration and began to think of our scholarly daughter working at Yale on a project called Zinc Fingers, scanning a protein with pseudopods, each with a trace of zinc that latch onto our DNA and help determine what we become. This brought me back to Mon Ami the pickpocket. I wondered how he chose his hard line of work, and if as a boy he was good at cards, for example, or sewing. And for that matter, what choice did I have either? So when we reached our stop and he looked up from my chin at last, I smiled at him and his eyes flashed in fear or surprise, and I called, "It's okay," as he scuttled away. "Tout va bien," though I held tight to my wallet.